Hello, students. I wanted to comment on your responses to that exercise from last week, which was, do you accept Lupton and Miller's estimation that McLuhan-Fiore's sort of very avant-garde, The Medium is the Massage from 1968, had little impact on the printing industry, in part because the print publication field is so conservative. And your responses, they were very interesting, and several of you noticed that it depends upon the publication and the audience. Um, Angelina had a wonderful link to a David Lynch video. David Lynch, creator of a couple fascinating TV and movies, and he has an alphabet video from when he was an art student, and it is roughly contemporaneous with Goodhart McLuhan, and it is very far out. It is as far out as McLuhan-Fiore. It's as far out as their book. Alexa, interestingly, had a change of heart. First, she was looking at the magazines that she read, and then I think she commented on, it might have been Pat or Angelina's post, seeing it from a different perspective, from a different magazine. So several of you pointed out that it really depends upon the publication that you're looking at and the audience that is intended. And so sometimes even within one publication, I think it was Julie found one publication that had some very straightforward layout and design of the kind that Goodhart would recommend. And then one feature that was very much avant-garde in the style of McLuhan-Fiore. So this is the New York Times Magazine from today's Sunday Times or Weekend Times. And as you can see, the heading, you can't even read it because it's gone off the page. Then there's a blurb about the cover story, which is put way over to the side, sort of unfortunately far over the side, making it difficult to read. But the story is about the fact that someone discovered apparently a new Rembrandt. And so then the picture itself is a detail of a Rembrandt painting, but this would be, sort of completely in violation of every principle of Goodhart Wilcox, if the idea is to give you clear information that's easy to decipher. And yet, this is from the New York Times. So the New York Times overall is going to be adhering to the sort of traditional design and layout approach that Goodhart Wilcox recommend, because it's about taking care of you, the reader, and that you get the information you want and need as quickly and as easily as possible. When you think about a magazine, it doesn't matter to the New York Times that you can't really tell that it says the New York Times up on top, because this magazine comes included within the weekend version of the New York Times. But if a magazine generally is sold on a newsstand, it's important to that publication that faithful readers of that magazine are going to easily identify, oh, that's Time magazine, or that's Vogue, or that's Sports Illustrated. So as many of you pointed out, the degree to which contemporary print publication has or has not been affected by the avant-garde ideas presented 1968 by McLuhan-Fiore. It really depends upon the kind of magazine and the kind of audience it is attempting to reach. As somebody mentioned, the principles of the Goodhart Wilcox chapter and the principles of Gestalt are very much in keeping with what it is the audience, the viewing, seeing audience wants, what satisfies them, what makes them feel good. And a lot of times just unambiguous clarity. I know what this article is about. I understand the title, the caption on the pictures helps me know exactly what it's about. I'm not at all confused. So that is still going to reign, as a very powerful motivation for traditional layout. And then, as several of you mentioned, the more avant-garde the magazine, or the more arty the magazine that's in Architecture Digest or Interior Design, these have a very sort of art-centric audience. So they are more likely to push the limits and engage in some things that might be risky on the level of clear, concise communication. But they're doing it in the interest of catching your eye, keeping your interest, exciting you, and possibly giving you an aesthetic pleasure which is different from the one of easy satisfaction, knowing what you're looking at, understanding what the message is, and getting the point. So that's what I have to say on those ideas and your very good responses to them.